It's okay, Jonathan. I'll see you later.
Come on, you bastard! You can do better than that! Nah! It's my turn!
Rotten or pristine, each heart contains the secret of life. Drink at this river, try it all.
Oh, come on, you bastard! I won't bite!
Sir, please. You've lost too much blood. Calm yourself.
You think I didn't notice? Stop your staring and get me to an hospital, you arse!
Insulting a good Samaritan. Not exactly the way to get rescued.
Alright, sorry. I am in pain here. My guts are spilling out onto the street and you're yabbering on.
Yes. That's a very nasty wound you've got there. Take my word, I am a doctor. Dr. Jonathan Reed.
Name's Clay Cox. I'd appreciate you helping me to a better place, Doc.
Follow me, Mr. Cox. Let me assist you to that better place.
Bring this fading light into the shadows. Dance with him the dance of life and death.
No more. Not tonight. Not like this. I will not take another life.
It is wise for the huntsman to sometimes let his prey go. But no famished hunter can run for long.
Doctor, where have you been? I've little time to play hide and seek with new staff members, no matter how illustrious they may be.
I found a wounded man by the docks. He answers to the name of Clay Cox. He requires urgent medical attention.
Already making the rounds? That's the Pembroke spirit. I'll ask our porter, Milton, to bring him back immediately.
Thank you, nurse. What can I do for you?
Dr. Swansea insisted we provide you a quiet office. You'll find it on the second floor with your name on the door.
Thank you. Nurse Crane, isn't it?
Yes, Dorothy Crane. Welcome to Pembroke Hospital, Dr. Reed. Your office has been prepared.
I would like to ask a few questions first. And Mr. Hampton, the patient we brought in, how does he fare?
I gave him a sedative to help him sleep. Poor thing was in quite a state of shock.
What kind of man is Dr. Swansea?
Well, you accepted the job from him. I thought you would have known about your employer.
It's right to assume Dr. Swansea knows far more about me than I do about him.
You'll get to know him soon enough, and better than me. The administrator has better things to do than mix with us.
Apologies, I've only just met him the once. This is sudden. I've only just returned to England.
Dr. Swansea is a brilliant surgeon and the most compassionate physician.
If you could point me in the direction of my room again, nurse.
Second floor of the hospital, left after the stairs. It's the last vacant office at the end of the corridor.
Thank you, Nurse Crane. Dr. Swansea is right. This place seems perfect to conduct my research. This must be the place. It's definitely away from prying eyes. Relegated to the shadows. A kingdom of my own. At least I won't be sleeping in a coffin. William Bishop's blood is much more unstable than human blood and shows extensive mutation. But this is not what happened to me. I must keep on searching. The sun is about to rise. I can feel it. I'll continue tomorrow night. I have so much time now. If I'm to stay here until my research is complete, I'd better learn to hide my true nature from the mortals. But what about my thirst for blood?
Hurry now, Doctor. It's freezing here.
Yes, Nurse Crane? How can I help you?
I'm so sorry. I know Dr. Swansea wanted you to rest, but we have somewhat of a crisis.
A crisis, you say?
Our supply of antiseptics is nearly depleted. I was hoping there was another box up here, but...
What type of hospital are you running? No antiseptics?
You have been away too long, Doctor. With the war and now this epidemic, supplies have been running scarce for months now.
I may have a solution. In France, during the war, drugs shortage was a daily problem, and we had to use our wits to overcome the shortages.
However do you mean?
If combined correctly, certain household chemical products can be used in a pinch instead. Now, where's the hospital storeroom?
The storeroom? Fat chance. This is the Pembroke, and space is luxury we don't have. Everything used to be stored in the old morgue.
Perhaps I should look there first. Where is this morgue?
It's the large building behind the hospital. You'll need to go in the back door because it's been sealed off for sanitary reasons. Take this key. It opens a small back entrance at the end of a narrow street.
The abandoned morgue behind the hospital. A small door at the end of a narrow street. On my way then. Thank you, nurse. Behavior is similar to the infected William Bishop. Must be the same strain. This sickness moves faster than influenza. This key will surely grant me access to the basement. Balls of Mars, fortifiers. As popular as they are ineffective. But they do contain iron tartrate, and that might prove itself useful. Mr. Connor's injuries don't match the report. I'd better look into this. It's locked, all right. Traces of a pinkish foam at the corner of the lips. Some sort of drug overdose, perhaps? The chest was originally opened to perform the operation. The sutures are clean, but the chest has been reopened. Multiple abrasions and scarring on the arms and legs. Old and distinctive injuries of a sailor or a fisherman. A puncture over the left lung, possibly a chest tube insertion. Not the cleanest work, but I think it was successful. Signs of internal bleeding. So, Dr. Tippett's anesthetics were incorrectly dosed, causing the patient's death. And then he tried to operate on him again. Tippett has made an egregious error. It's time we talked. Tippett has made an egregious error. It's time we talked. Scowls can be so ferocious. I'm not sure I can defeat them without becoming stronger. To drink blood is so tempting. It's locked. It's locked, all right. Good evening, sir.
So it is true. The famous Dr. Reed has joined us. I can't think of any better news during these terrible times.
Do we know each other?
Actually, yes. We met once before, at the Rockefeller University in New York.
Dr. Tippett, yes, I remember. I was assisting Professor Carell in his research about coronary bypasses. He had nothing but praise for you.
He was also very confident about your future. And look at you now. Eminent surgeon and blood transfusion specialist.
What is the Pembroke Hospital situation? And please, speak freely.
This hospital is not exactly the best of London. I'm sure you are used to working in a better environment.
It's not exactly the best situation in London either. I can't have expected this hospital to be prepared for what was to come.
Don't be misled by appearances, Dr. Reed. This hospital does not lack talented people. It just lacks hope.
What can you tell me about the staff in the hospital?
Some are really good, and others are not so good. But during this troubled period, there is no time for slander. I prefer to focus on the positive character traits.
Tell me more about cherished people, then.
Nurse Brannigan is a pearl. She is the most helpful and dedicated nurse I've ever worked with. A clever and cheerful woman.
You really seem to admire her skills.
I'll go even further. If she was a man, she would be a damn fine practitioner.
Any opinion about the management?
I don't always agree with Dr. Swansea's reserve, but I must admit he does all he can to keep this facility running during this crisis.
Ah, yes, the burden of command. I was fed up with this concept while serving as a medical officer.
Don't get me wrong. Swansea's a good administrator. I just wish he would get out of his office now and again.
I want you to tell me about Mr. Connor. How did he die? What happened?
He was my patient. He died because of my mistake. That's the blunt truth.
What was the nature of the mistake?
It was a twofold error. My diagnosis was wrong, and the administered dosage was too strong.
Who was this patient?
I don't know. Some sick man from the docks, maybe a fisherman. I had no time to talk with him. No one claimed a body.
Why not stop practicing?
Are you mad? I killed that man, I admit it, and it won't happen again. I have saved so many lives since then.
Goodbye, Dr. Tippett.
Must prove what we are capable of. It is now or never.
Good evening, nurse. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed, the new surgeon here at the Pembroke.
Dr. Swansea has already told us about you, sir. I'm Nurse Gwyneth Brannigan. Welcome to the Pembroke Hospital.
Did he really? It's a good thing I wasn't hoping to keep a low profile.
All members of staff have already read about your new blood transfusion technique. Dr. Swansea made sure of that.
I see. Well, I'm a little surprised, but I suppose I'll just have to deal with this unexpected notoriety.
You must know, blood transfusions are Dr. Swansea's primary subject of research. He is convinced it is the future.
How are things here?
Not good, to say the least. We're struggling against an invisible enemy, more lethal than any bullet from a gun. It's hard, Doctor.
An invisible enemy? Quite a poetic term for a disease, especially from a nurse.
Sorry, Doctor. These last few weeks have been exhausting. We could all do with a good night's sleep.
Do you think this hospital can survive the epidemic?
We are all volunteers here, and we're trying to hold fast, but how do we beat an invisible killer? Some nurses have already resigned.
I'm not familiar with all the staff yet. Perhaps you could help me.
Brilliant professionals, most of them. Dr. Swansea has a gift for recruiting talent.
Most of them. Is there a problem I should know about, nurse?
It would be inappropriate for me to speak ill of a colleague.
Is there anyone that stands out?
Well, I have never met someone as dedicated as Dr. Tippett. He should be a standard for us all here. If only he were younger.
Why should his age be a problem?
I guess it's fair to say he's always pushing himself to the limits. He just doesn't know when to stop and get some rest.
Nurse Brannigan, if you do know something, please tell me. Anything you say will be held in confidence.
No. I may disagree with some conduct, but in the end, everybody is doing their best.
Goodbye, nurse. Call me if you need assistance. Good evening, Nurse Brannigan.
Good evening, Doctor.
Why does Dr. Tippett claim you're the main reason he keeps working, despite his fatigue?
If it wasn't for him, I probably would have left the Pembroke years ago.
Dr. Tippett does not think of you as just a nurse anymore, does he?
If you're suggesting he's not taking my gender into consideration when it comes to medical practice and knowledge, I really hope he doesn't.
Tell me what Dr. Tippett did. I know his mistake caused a patient's death.
If I had not covered up his error, Dr. Tippett would have been fired from this hospital. I could not let that happen.
You can't allow your emotions to dictate your conduct concerning patients, Nurse Brannigan.
Look around you, Dr. Reed. Do you really think we can afford to lose a brilliant practitioner like Dr. Tippett in our situation?
I can't say I approve of what you did. But as a field surgeon, I know that some situations require you to bend the rules.
I'm not proud of what I've done, but to contain the epidemic must be our priority, so we can't afford to lose Dr. Tippett.
I've decided that I won't reveal Dr. Tippett's, shall we say, misdemeanor.
I'm so glad you share my point of view. Dr. Tippett is a brilliant practitioner. We most definitely need his know-how.
I hope you're right. This is a huge risk we're taking.
Dr. Tippett must regain his confidence. Please, keep this decision between you and me. He doesn't need to know you found out.
Please, I feel sick. Get over it now.
Goodbye, nurse. Call me if you need assistance.